So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
In the US, the president is a man who seems to suffer some problem in focusing and remembering stuff.
Recent hack by the Russians. Would you say that this means
We're not sure it's the Russians. I got a brief, and I'll be in better shape to talk to you about it. Hang on a second. I'll tell you what they sent me. The idea, first of all, we're not sure who it is for certain, number one. And what I did, I directed the full resources of the government to assist in a response.
Now, if Putin sees that footage, and I'm sure he will he conclude about the guy leading the world's biggest superpower?
Well, hopefully he realises that he isn't leading the world's superpower because, look, what you see there with Biden is what we all predicted would be the problem with his age and his mental acuity. The point that he made, of course, is if Trump was doing this, it'd be everywhere, all over the press, and everybody would be, calling for him to have a medical examination and all sorts of other things.
In a weekend interview, Vladimir Putin laughed at the suggestion that you had called him a killer. Is that still your belief, sir, that he is a killer? And I'll continue the trend if you don't mind of asking a second question. Do you believe if he does agree to cooperate, then what kind of a challenge do you find yourself in? How would you ever trust him? And if Ronald Reagan said trust but verify, what do you say to Vladimir Putin?
Answer the first question. I'm laughing too. Well, look, I mean, he has made clear that the answer is, I believe he has in the past essentially acknowledged that he was, there are certain things that he would do or did do. But look, when I was asked that question on air, I answered it honestly. But it's not much of I don't think it matters a whole lot in terms of this next meeting we're about to have.
Biden is showing no signs of improvement. In fact, quite the reverse. Just last week, Biden appeared to sleep through much of what people call the climate crisis. And often we don't know what he's talking about, and neither does he.
One of the reasons why I decided to talk about the need to deal with the operation and the gouging that occurs in some of the pricing of beef and chicken and other things is that that's why I think that's why I indicated to you we're going to look at whether or not there's a violation of antitrust laws and what they're doing. I think that and anyone who would prefer, as bad as things are in terms of prices hurting families now, trade this Thanksgiving for last Thanksgiving.
To the CNN town hall this week, his chief stenographer, Don Lemon, was on the case. And boy, did Don come prepared with some tough questions for the big guy.
President, you've been the big guy for 6 months now in the White House. Can you take us behind the scenes, something that was extraordinary or unusual that happened that stands out to you?
Yeah, Mr. President, you didn't close the door. Mr. President, what the hell are you going out at this time for? It's a wonderful honor. As you can tell, I hope I have very good manners, but I'm not very hung up on protocol. And and the Secret Service is wonderful.
What was that? Let's start unpacking that question, which was, can you tell us something extraordinary? One thing, just one thing that has stood out to you during your time as leader of the free world. Could you possibly hand the big guy an easier question than that? But apparently it was too difficult cognitively for Biden, who started rambling about times he's being told to close the door and how often he's asked, Mr. President, why are you going outside? And Don Lemon just nervously laughs along as if it was a normal response. Tragically, it wasn't even the craziest thing to be said at the town hall. In case you missed it, here is the now infamous moment Biden starts raving about whether there is a man on the moon.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon, or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
Truly wild stuff. And here he is failing to answer basic questions on vaccines.
And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are. Why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be. Or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just comically bizarre gaffes. Biden made plenty of factually incorrect statements as well, some of which Don Lemon helped him correct in the moment before quickly trying to move on.
I want to say I'm in his territory. Portman is a good man. Portman is a congressman from this area. I talked to him before and I really mean it. He's a decent, honorable man, and he and I are working on trying to get this infrastructure bill passed.
But you're talking about Senator Ron Portman of Ohio.
I'm sorry. I thought.
Jeez, talk about a media protection racket. Could you imagine CNN doing that for Donald Trump or any Republican if they made even a slight mistake? And here is Biden falsely claiming that former Obama administration economist Larry Summers isn't worried about long-term inflation, despite the fact he co-wrote an op-ed titled "The Inflation Risk is Real."
People are coming back, and guess what? Instead of paying 10 cents, you're paying 20. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It relates to what, in fact, is now needed because we're growing. I don't know anybody, including Larry Summers, who's a friend of mine, who's worried about inflation, is suggesting that there's any long-term march here if we do the things we're going to do.
So what did CNN's online reporting of the event look like? Surely it focused on some of these howlers, giving the public an accurate portrayal of the event. Well, no, CNN's main digital wrap led with these three highlights. Biden explains how he's working to dispel vaccine misinformation. Biden slams Jim Crow on steroids. And President says he will keep fighting for the Dreamers. So with this degree of dishonest journalism, is it any wonder that viewers fled the propaganda fest? The town hall only had 1.5 million viewers, which Fox News beat by 83% at the same time. And for those who just read the CNN post-debate wrap, you would mistakenly think that Biden nailed it. So much for objectivity.